Martha had cleaned the glass towers of Dalton Enterprises for 12 years, quietly pushing her cart through hallways where no one knew her name. But that morning felt different. As she stepped into the executive floor, she found the usually calm atmosphere buzzing with tension. Men in suits whispered nervously. Phones rang endlessly. She overheard one sentence that froze her steps. "If this deal goes through, Dalton Industries will lose everything." Martha didn't know much about business. But she did know people. And she had been watching Mr. Jonathan Dalton, the Millionaire CEO, for years. He looked confident to everyone else, but she often saw the exhaustion in his eyes when he thought no one was looking. Today, he looked worse than ever. As Martha wiped down a conference room table, she saw a stack of documents left behind. On the top page was a company name she recognized, not from business news, but from her neighborhood. A small store where her friend once worked. She remembered how that company had scammed dozens of poor families. Her heart pounded. "This is wrong," she whispered. She hesitated. A cleaning lady had no place interfering in a billionaire's world. But something pushed her forward. She knocked on Jonathan's office door with trembling hands. "Sir? I think someone is trying to trick you," she said softly. Jonathan stared, confused and curious. He didn't know it yet, but the quiet woman holding a mop had just saved him from losing $500 million. Jonathan Dalton was not a man who liked interruptions, especially during crisis hour. Yet something in Martha's voice made him look up. She wasn't frantic. She wasn't bold. She was simply sincere. "What do you mean someone is tricking me?" he asked. Martha clutched her hands together. "Sir, the company you're signing a partnership with, Beacon Corp, they hurt people where I live. They take money, make promises, disappear. My friend lost everything because of them." Jonathan's jaw tightened. He had just spent months negotiating the deal. Billions were on the line. Hundreds of jobs depended on it. And now a cleaning lady was telling him it was a scam? But she didn't look like someone trying to impress him. She looked scared for him. "Are you sure?" he asked. "Yes, sir. I know I'm nobody important, but..." I couldn't stay quiet. Her voice cracked, and Jonathan felt something he hadn't felt in years: respect. He called his legal and risk teams. Background checked Beacon Corp again. Every file. Every lawsuit. Everything. Within hours, the truth unraveled. Fraud. Hidden lawsuits. Fake assets. Manipulated records. A massive trap designed to swallow his company whole. Jonathan felt the blood drain from his face. If he had signed the deal, Dalton Enterprises would have collapsed by year's end. The loss? $500 million, maybe more. He stared at Martha, stunned. "How did you know this?" he asked quietly. "I just pay attention," she said. "People like me have to." Jonathan dismissed the boardroom full of executives and motioned for her to sit, something no employee at her level had ever been invited to do. "Miss Martha," he said slowly, "you just saved my company." But Martha shook her head. "I didn't save your company, sir. I saved you. You always treat us cleaners kindly. It was my turn." Jonathan's heart softened. Something began to change in him that moment. News of the cancelled deal spread throughout the building like wildfire. Everyone wondered what had happened, but Jonathan told no one, not yet. He called Martha to his office again the next morning. She walked in nervously, thinking she had overstepped. "Sir, if I did wrong, I'm sorry." Jonathan raised a hand gently. "Martha, you did something extraordinary. Sit, please." She hesitated, then sat at the edge of the chair. "Martha," he began. "May I ask, how long have you been working here?" 12 years, sir." 12? He blinked. "And no one ever promoted you?" She smiled faintly. "Cleaning jobs don't have promotions. They just have more floors." Her humility stung him more than any business loss ever had. Jonathan had lived in luxury his whole life, surrounded by consultants, analysts, and advisors, yet not one of them had seen the danger she had. You could have stayed silent, he said. Most people would have. I know what losing everything looks like, she murmured. I didn't want that for you, or your workers. Something inside Jonathan shifted. In a world full of people chasing power, this woman cared about strangers. He opened a folder on his desk. Martha, I want you to head a new division, Employee Care and Community Insight. You have instincts no degree can teach. Her eyes widened in shock. Sir, I only finished high school. Good, he smiled. That means you see reality. I need that. Tears gathered in her eyes. No one had ever believed in her like this. When she left his office, every step she took felt lighter, like she was carrying hope for the first time in years. She had saved a billionaire without knowing it. And now, he intended to change her life too. Martha's promotion stunned the entire company. A cleaning lady, suddenly leading a division? People whispered. Some laughed. Some doubted. But Jonathan didn't care. He trusted her more than any executive on his payroll. Her first assignment seemed small: meet with workers from all levels and listen to their struggles. Within a week, Martha gathered insights no one had ever dared to voice. Broken equipment, unfair supervisors, overworked staff, and hidden financial waste. Jonathan read her report and felt ashamed. He had been so focused on the company's image that he had forgotten the people who kept it alive. Martha, he said after finishing the report, you didn't just save the company from a scam, you've shown me the whole truth. She lowered her eyes. I only wrote what people told me. That's the point, Jonathan replied. People trust you. He took her with him to a board meeting, a first in company history. Executives raised eyebrows, but Jonathan didn't flinch. Martha will brief you, he said firmly. She spoke gently, but with the honesty of someone who had nothing to gain. By the end, even the skeptics were silent. Her insight wasn't polished, it was real. Later, Jonathan told her, I want to launch a program to support low-income workers in our city. You'll lead it. She froze. Her mind went to her small apartment, her overdue bills, the life she had always accepted as permanent. Sir, why me? Because you see people, Jonathan answered. Not numbers. Not profits. People. That night, Martha walked home under the streetlights with a trembling smile. The world hadn't changed, but her place in it had. Months passed, and Martha's life transformed in ways she could never have imagined. Her new salary allowed her to move her grandchildren into a safer neighborhood. She repaired her roof, bought new clothes, and even enrolled in evening classes. Every small improvement felt like a miracle. But the greatest change wasn't material, it was the confidence blooming inside her. Her worker support program became the heart of Dalton Enterprises. Employees who once felt invisible now had a voice. Productivity rose, morale soared, and Jonathan often joked that Martha had saved the company twice. One afternoon, during a city business forum, Jonathan was invited to speak. He walked on stage, paused, and then stunned the entire room. I am not the smartest person in my company, he announced. The person who saved Dalton Enterprises from a $500 million scam was not an advisor, not a lawyer, not a board member. It was our cleaning lady, Martha Cole. Gasps filled the hall as Martha, seated in the audience, covered her face in shock. Jonathan continued. She reminded me that true wisdom doesn't come from wealth or status. It comes from paying attention, from caring, from having the courage to say, this is wrong. He gestured toward her. Martha is proof that heroes can come from anywhere. The audience rose in applause, a standing ovation for a woman who had once walked the halls unseen. Martha cried softly, overwhelmed. She had never wanted praise, she had only wanted to do what was right. But in that moment, she realized the truth. Sometimes the smallest act of courage can change countless lives. And sometimes, the world finally sees the person who always deserved to shine.